Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, so it's time for another live Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and this week we're joined by Wolfie.
Oh, everybody.
Tony has 9 fingers.
What is going on, people?
And Tony, would you like to introduce our guests?
Sure. From the movie Death Drop Gorgeous, not to be mistaken for...
I looked it up
the other
incorrectly multiple times. I'm just letting you know that. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, you got to get better. But anyway, I don't know who you're going to go to first.
Let's go to Brandon first.
All right. So just so you know, all three of these guys are the directors and writers and actors in the movie and stuff like that. So
Yes.
they got a couple hats in this.
Yes.
So Brandon Perras, hopefully I said that right. I'm horrible with pronunciation, so don't get offended.
Nope, that was good.
Chris Dalpe.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Nice.
All right.
Tony, those hooked on phonics are working. All right.
And Michael Ahern.
Hi.
Hello.
Or
Hello.
Hi.
So Death Drop Gorgeous. Been hearing some things here and there. Like I even mentioned to some friends, like, oh, we're gonna have people on from this, and they're like, oh, I've heard of that. So that's it's a fresh take on a horror movie. I mean, it's something that is like a regular horror fan. You don't really see many movies like this. That's a good thing. So when do you guys want to talk about the whole plot of the movie from beginning to end? Don't leave anything out. Go ahead, one of you.
Grab it.
Chris, I'm going to defer to you. You always summarize the best of the three of us.
I was hopefully going to defer to you because you're so nervous about being live on. And so if you were to stumble over your own words as the intro to our movie.
That's so cruel. You don't be so cruel on live television.
It's far from television, believe me. Very far.
How many viewers are we at so far?
Oh,
Negative
Sergio's in the chat
4.
room. Hello, Sergio. He's in here every week. What's up, Sergio? So yeah, it's they trickle in and out during the show, and then during the week, people can. It's going to be. So that's the thing is, if you mess up, you can always go back and watch it again. It'll be right there. Yeah,
Forever
right.
on the internet.
Fair. Then I will save Michael Ahern's public humiliation for something else.
Thank you.
Death Drop Gorgeous is a queer horror slasher movie. It really follows the drag queen nightlife, like the seedy nightlife of Providence, Rhode Island. And what happens is all of these gay men start being lured on dating apps and brutally murdered throughout the city. So you as a viewer, you get awesome drag queen performances, John Waters level camp, and then a really mysterious mystery of who's killing all these gay men.
And there's also some other. There's a lot of like. There's a lot of variety of music in there too. There's even like hardcore bands, and there's like. So yeah, I found that very interesting. Is there a lot of crossover in like with hardcore, or is it just like you guys, your friends, or what's what was the deal with the music? I liked it, but yeah.
This is a Brandon question for sure.
Yeah, I come from the music scene mostly, so a lot of those bands, just people I'm friends with or met throughout the years. Played in a bunch of local bands in Providence and went on a few tours and met a bunch of people.
Nice.
But yeah, just we all kind of everyone involved in the movie all kinds of listens to everything too. Like the main character Wayne, like the other crew member, he's pretty involved in the punk and metal scene as well too. So yeah, that'd be nice to combine everyone together. And there's a little bit of crossover in Providence too. I think you see some of the music people pop up at the gay bars and vice versa too at the punk and metal shows. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, Providence is pretty great. I mean, I wanted to move there because it's like I always describe it as a cross between Boston and Worcester. So it's like it's as cool as Boston, but not as shitty as Worcester. Like it's don't get me wrong.
I would have switched that around actually.
Really?
As cool as Worcester, not as shitty as Boston.
Well, I don't know. Growing up in Worcester, I mean, man, the only good thing about Worcester now is that yeah, I hate Boston, but
okay then.
But Boston's got cool clubs. They have cool clubs in Boston. Like that's the thing is they have that going for it. But yeah, the only thing that Worcester has going for it now is that they're filming a bunch of movies in Worcester. Like like the new Black Panther is being filmed in Worcester for some reason.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, but it's funny if you look at the cop cars that are going to be in the movie, they all say Boston on them, so they don't even want to admit that they're in Worcester. So, yeah. So, anyways, but yeah,
Angel says hello.
Angel says hello. Angel was going to be on tonight, but he didn't have time to watch the movie, so he's like, I'm not going to do a disservice. And plus, we already have 6 people here. But Providence is pretty great. I haven't hung out in Providence for a good handful of years, but I really, really liked it. I like driving through Providence too. Like, there's cool things to see. There's good restaurants. There's awesome clubs, like small clubs that are really cool. Like you see a lot of like even bigger bands coming to these smaller clubs, which you don't get that in Worcester. You always go to Boston instead. So,
well, yeah, I'm really glad that you asked the band conversation and like the music because so many of the drag performers and actors are actual Providence drag performers. Most of our musicians that are featured in the film are actual Providence musicians. And most of like the bars and spaces that we actually filmed in were all on set in Providence. So it's like a super Providence, everything. It's overly saturated with Providence.
I was looking at the credits and I was looking to see if there was like any places I recognized names. Because, I didn't know if like, maybe the ES220 would pop up, but...
They did. It is in there.
It is?
They're in our thank yous. We used their space a couple times, right?
The cocaine blowjob scene is in AS2.
Oh, that makes sense because that's what happened to me when I was there last.
We always joke that Death Drop Gorgeous should be like the tourism video that Providence uses. We showcase a little bit of everything. So I don't know what they're doing, but they're clearly not doing a good job. They should hire us.
Yeah. Why is it like calm down in Providence? Is it not?
No. A couple of years ago, they had this very silly tourism idea, and the slogan that they decided on was like Rhode Island, warm and cool. That's what it was. It was just warm and cool, or like cool and warm, or something. And it's like
they paid a firm in like Georgia to come up with that. Not even like someone from Rizzo or like someone from Rhode Island.
I just love that like a group of people were in a room, and that's like the best he came up with.
I got it. Warm and cool.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what the other 3 that didn't make it were. It's like Providence. You're here.
Is that dry? Hard and soft.
Worcester, Boston.
Yeah. Shitty Massachusetts, but down there. All right, cool. Yeah.
Rhode Island. It's tiny.
Yeah, exactly.
The Chad of America. Chad's a really small country. I don't know. I'll shut up.
You blame.
Kevin brought it up because nowadays, especially, not as much in indie horror because you get a lot of, creative ideas and stuff, but this definitely takes, this slasher type thing and kind of spins it on its head because this is me, because when I start watching movies, my mind goes different places, and watching this, I was thinking like Tu Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar, turn into like a slasher film. So I just kept waiting for like Wesley Snipes or someone to pop out and be like, okay, I'm here or something.
Well,
but
quickly, that's close.
Yeah.
I get what Tony's saying because I was thinking along the same lines. I'm like, oh yeah, this is little Rocky Horror, little Tu Wong Fu, and then they throw in Maniac with Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's
none of those
combination
are
I got with this.
Yeah.
No, none of them are bad things because Tu Wong Fu happens to be one of my, I didn't know what it was when I was younger, and then watching it now, it resonates with me, or like now I know what it means. But at this point, I'm like, okay, like I said, it just meshed the two together, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, but
But I like it.
I enjoyed it.
I don't know what's going on, but blowjob in a bathroom with cocaine.
I read online that the two main drag actors. I'm gonna kick myself in the teeth like while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
That they had to come up with 2 original songs because you guys couldn't get clearance for some of the stuff.
Yeah, we had 2 separate musicians come up with songs. Because we don't have money, we can't pay like Capitol Records for the clearance of like a Rihanna song. So Bright Light is a musician. His name is Rod, and he took the clip of the drag queen we had performing and like made up lyrics to how her lips were moving, and then made the song Two Left Titties.
Was it the one that's like with the big feet and stuff like that?
Yes, yeah. The one that Janet performs. And he just like watched that clip and like made up words to what she was saying. All he needed was like the beats per minute, and then he just went from there, which was kind of fantastic.
That's actually impressive.
Yeah, and then the other artist who did that was my friend Jackie Camel. We had a drag queen who brought a song that she said was in public domain, and lo and behold, it was not in public domain, and so we had to do the same thing again. But yeah.
Like I didn't think Cher or anyone else was public domain.
What was the song you thought was in public domain?
Do you remember, Brandon? I totally forget.
Oh my god.
We would be stupid.
Something about vitamin D. Like a Patsy Cline song, maybe.
Oh yeah, it was a song about vitamin D.
Hold on.
That's it.
I don't remember. It was not a good song, but it sounded old enough that like I believed her when she said it was in public domain. And then we unfortunately came to the fact that it was not.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. It's the Elvis Presley "I Get My Lovin' in the Evening Time." Maybe I don't care if the sun don't shine.
Yeah, it was covered by someone though, like
Patty Page.
Paula Vitamin D from Angel.
Attracting new customers.
Got it.
Oh yeah, that's it right there. That's a toe tapper right there. Attracting new customers. My favorite line. Attracting new customers. But yeah, so how did this whole process start? Like, you guys are friends, or have you guys worked together in the past? Like, are you all directors separately, or how does this work?
So I moved down to Providence like 2003, and I met Chris's sister Vicky. She's one of the first people I met, so we became really close. And then just kind of, met all of her siblings throughout the years when they all came down to Providence to visit. And then Chris eventually moved down here, and we became friends. And we were at Vicky's house one night, just like drinking and watching horror movies, and talking about how like these sex apps that guys use are the kind of if a Craigslist killer wanted to update themselves, like they'd use these apps. And so we were just kind of like joking about it. And then, like almost a year later, I was talking to Mike about like Chris and I, what we were talking about with the jokes and kills we were thinking of. And Mike said, well, let's make this into a movie. I was like, okay. So I had all 3 of us meet at a local bar. We started talking about it, and then just started kind of banging out a screenplay.
Basically, 3 boys, a dream, and a meat grinder.
I must say, some of the kills in this one, I was like, okay, like we're so used to certain kills and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm like, I wonder how much, because sometimes you get like that implied gore, and like, okay, I know what's happening, but I don't see it. Yeah. And then that time, I'm like, okay, I saw everything. I'm like, I'm hurting because of it at that point in time.
Yeah, we wanted no off-screen or implied gore. We wanted to give it to you all. I think something that Brandon wanted to really capture is that like sometimes you return to 80s slashers because of the kills and how gruesome they are and how over the top and how inventive they are. So that was like one of the things we really wanted to definitely nail down. So part of writing the script was like just brainstorming how gross can we get and sort of like where, like, I don't know what tools we could use between like a turkey carver to a high heel to, so we just went over the top.
As soon as I saw the turkey carver, and I'm like, it's on the counter and it's plugged in. I'm like,
exactly.
There's no turkey anywhere. I'm like, this is my vibe right
gonna get used.
Like, that's the thing is, you guys were mentioning Tu Wong Fu. I was thinking more like along the line of like John Waters, because I've never seen Tu Wong Fu.
Okay.
Yeah, but and it just like almost like the kind of like hokiness of some of the stuff. I mean, in a very good way. Like it's funny. Like there was a few moments that I definitely like, huh, like out loud, which is kind of hard to do nowadays because I watch so much stuff, I really. Oh, actually, Angel's asking a question. He's the one who's gonna come in, but he can't. I was trying to watch this at work. Laptop down and watch the teeth. He was at work watching this movie. That's okay though, Angel. If anyone can sell it, you can.
I hope you're a school bus driver.
He's a school teacher. No, he teaches kindergarten. No. But yeah, so like making the movie, like you guys have all worked making movies in the past, or is this something you're just jumping into it?
Yeah, we just jumped into it
Nice.
kind of blindly, and we like circumvented like the very typical like you make a short before you make a feature. We were just like, no, we're just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, it was kind of like when we started writing it, it wasn't. I don't know. It was just sort of like a fun project we were working on and like expressing our nightmarish ideas. And I don't think like we didn't have like this very long term, like long planned out goal that we were going to actually film it. We were just kind of writing it. And then the further we went along, the more like realized it became. And then it just came to a point where we're like, well, I guess we got to do it now too. But yeah, no previous experience for any of us. I know Brandon did some stuff in college with editing, right?
Yeah, just like technical stuff. But technology's changed so much. I was like using cassettes and like the old school ways. Like digital just barely started happening. Like Final Cut Pro was like towards the end of my schooling. This is like way back in the day. But like everything's come a long way. I think it's and in a good way too. I think there's so much stuff more accessible to everybody now to make their own films. There's free editing software. We use DaVinci Resolve to edit the whole movie. It's free. It's just as good as Premiere or Final Cut. I highly recommend it. So yeah, it's in a good way. Things are changing.
Nice. Yeah, because there's even like movies that are made with like just an iPhone. Like there was a one that came out in the theater. Yeah,
insane. I love that movie. That was
that was surprisingly good considering. But yeah, Wolfie, you were gonna ask a question. And then
I was just gonna say he's talking about the technical side and the editing. I go, the only thing is you just have to learn the gear that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a while. I mean, and once you get it down to like an idea of what you want to do, you can control the world, man.
Yeah. So did you guys find a cinematographer, or is it something where did you guys do that as well, or is it just?
Yeah.
So there were 5 guys on the crew.
Yeah. It was the 3 of us, and then Wayne, who plays Dwayne, wore many different hats. Also, between like being the lead actor, he was often the killer stunt double actually. And did special effects, and then Brandon's partner Ryan, who played the pup, also did a lot of like sound on set, and then like sound engineering later on and editing. So between the 5 of us, we just kind of like traded off spaces.
We made a movie.
When you said the pup, that reminded me of one of the things that made me like actually like laugh a little bit when he got hit. And it made like the dog sound. I'm like, that's great. Like I loved it. And Angel Angel's just talking. DaVinci fucks apparently. And you guys had mentioned like 80s slashers and stuff like that. Sergio's asking if you have like a favorite. Like, do you guys is there a go-to horror, or if someone doesn't like horror, do you try to talk them into watching a specific movie? I always have go-tos,
Yeah.
I have so many go-tos. My recent favorite was I've never seen the director's cut of the original My Bloody Valentine before. The director's cut elevates it to a whole new place. It's sorely underrated. Even the edited version is good, but like the director's cut is just brutal. I just can't believe that the director's cut didn't come out sooner. It wasn't the original release of it, considering it came out at the same time as a lot of pretty nasty films. So that one was just really good.
Came out in
I love
1980.
the Mutilator, original Black Christmas. All that stuff is really fun too.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the original My Bloody Valentine when it came out.
It's because you were already in high school then. You're
I
old.
was at the drive-in too, much like
That's
Brandon
awesome.
is right now.
Yeah, that's true. Chris, do you have a go-to horror movie?
Ooh. So specifically, I think if we were thinking like for gore and special effects for all of this, like I don't think slashers like a maniac killer was ever like always like my
Your thing.
genre.
That wasn't your
I always
genre.
wanted something a bit more supernatural, a little something spookier. So I think I would always go to like Demons is like a rewatchable movie for a million years for me.
Nice.
Very cool.
Plus, I like anything with a little higher camp value, especially when it comes to that period.
Nice.
So,
And it's a nice Italian film
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's got
with
meatballs.
a good rock soundtrack.
Spicy meatballs. Michael, do you have a go-to horror movie?
I'm very similar to Chris in I think like that most of the 80s slasher inspiration definitely came from Brandon with That Drop Gorgeous. I think if I were to be on a very lovely date with a gentleman and he did not like horror, I'd make him watch Alien.
Nice.
Because body horror really fucks me up, and I think that's the most disturbing body horror I've seen in ever.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
no,
Dead
it's-
Ringers is pretty twisted.
Yeah.
Dead Ringers? I don't know if I've seen that.
Cronenberg
Scream Factory
made-
put that out.
Everyone's talking at once. I heard Scream Factory.
Yeah, Scream Factory put out that ringer. Well, a version of it. So
Well, good to know. So,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm just joking around. They know how I'm not being mean. So speaking of releases, it's available. Is it available to stream right now it's on Vimeo? Do you guys have any like a physical release, or is it just streaming?
So it's currently available to rent or buy on Amazon, Vudu, iTunes, Google Play, like kind of your typical things. And then for physical release, you can purchase it on DVD.
Nice.
And the DVD has like a blooper reel we edited together, some deleted scenes, director's commentary. So that just went up live, like I think last week. And then, available to rent or buy if you just didn't want to have a physical copy.
Well, we all like physical copies of stuff, so that's the thing.
Mhm.
And I would love to see the blooper reel. I'm sure that would be phenomenal. I
Well,
think
you go
there
to
should
the
be a
dark-
blooper reel at the end of every movie, like the old Smokey and the Bandit thing with like
Yeah.
the music and stuff. There should be at the end of everything, like Schindler's List. Everything should have a blooper reel, like wacky music.
It's
So
just the blooper reel in this movie is just Pup running around chasing everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Peeing on things.
If you go to
Yeah,
the
so that's
Superheroes
pretty cool.
website, Dark Star, they're up on that.
I'm sorry.
Did they
You said on the dark. I think I shared that. I think it's in the show notes. If you go
Cool.
there, I believe.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So did you guys do like a festival circuit, or was it just a premiere and then that's it, or how did that go for you?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, when we first released into the festival world, it unfortunately was when COVID reared its ugly head initially. So 2020, we predominantly, I would say, if not most of the festivals we attended or part of was a digital release, which had its like pros and cons, right? Like we got to be all over the world, and then really got to do a lot of conversations with folks. But I think we definitely felt like we missed out on our like networking, getting drunk backstage with folks.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, we've heard that a bit. I didn't know because we've also seen movies where like they're in the festival circuit for years, So I didn't know like how long it's been I just finished a movie right before we started the show because I had physical therapy after work, so I got home a little bit late. So I apologize that I didn't do all my research, but I'm asking a lot of questions.
So is it just me, or is everyone else watching the screen over Brandon's shoulder?
I'm totally doing that. Between that and like watching it get dark at your house, I'm going back and forth.
Now, you said, because we've had plenty of people on that take that short film route and then, okay, let me try, our take on a feature. Like, what was the hardest part of it? Like,
Yeah.
I'm guessing you knew what you were walking into, but what was like the hardest part of it that you're like, I didn't expect it to be that difficult, like in the beginning?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't actually think we knew what we were getting into. It's the reality of the situation. I think I think that's just the hardest part is like we didn't have like money, and that we had to be really inventive and thoughtful about how to execute the things we wanted to execute with what little money we fundraised. Like we didn't have producers or backers or anything. It was all crowdsourced. So I think that was the hardest part. And then we filmed on nights and weekends. So we were working around like so many schedules and people were donating their time for free. So it was just sort of like breaking it down and just figuring out how we were going to do it was sometimes a headache.
Yeah.
So did you have to call in a lot of favors? I mean,
it was all
like
favors.
well, I'm thinking about the club stuff. You know, I'm like, did you know guys that own the clubs and go, hey, you know what? Can we borrow the club when it's like closed in the daytime? Just dress it up.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of that.
I will be doing pro bono like graphic design for the clubs probably until I die.
Well, there you go then.
Did you design the poster and stuff too?
Not the current pink one. That's actually from our distributors, but I think like we single-handedly have the most movie posters for one movie ever created. So if you like just go through our Facebook, you're like, wow, they did a lot of identity changes throughout.
Yeah. Here's what you do. I do a bunch of limited releases on DVD with the different covers. You have the posters there, and people like Tony will buy them all.
So will Kevin.
I will too. I have multiple copies of things just because it's got a different piece of paper on the inside. Whatever.
I have 5 copies of Pieces of Talon, I think.
Yeah, same here.
5 or 6 or something like that. So
yep, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Evil Dead 2. I have like VHS, DVD, Blu-ray.
That's like the horrible part about being a collector. It's like, okay, I love movies and I'll collect them, but then it's like, I have the movie already. Do I need it again? Yes. So I have like 2 or 3 copies of certain ones, like a steelbook version and all this, and it's like,
well, you need it again because if you don't get it, then you won't have it. So
yeah, I wind up combining mine. Like if I already have a DVD copy, I'll just take the DVD and get a double case and make myself a DVD Blu-ray copy.
My guy over here. Anyways, so I want to play the trailer because we haven't played the trailer yet. And for those that are watching either live or later on, you can check this out everywhere. Amazon, Vimeo. Is it like where else? Everywhere it's streaming, right?
Yeah, like essentially.
Everywhere in the world.
Everywhere in the world.
We're streaming Disney Plus, yeah.
Oh, I would love
the
that.
WWE Network.
The Food Network.
Yeah.
Peacock.
All right. Yeah, Peacock. So here's the trailer for Death. I had to look at it because I was going to say Drop Dead. Death Drop Gorgeous. Here we go.
Are you ready to have a blast?
You, me, we're going out on the town.
Where are you going tonight?
The Outhouse's Halloween party is their biggest of the season.
Oh, you didn't hear?
Just a heads up, but there is a guy that's going to meet us there at the bar.
What have you got?
You little slut.
Help!
Get a new job. Rent's coming up.
You want your job back. Tony, I'll take any shift you can give me. Tuesday with Gloria Hole.
You're going to be working at the same bar as Janet.
Who are you? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Why even bother asking?
She's so much prettier than me. It's not fair.
Bitch. You can always find beauty in tragedy.
I'd kill for your skin.
Hi, yeah, O'Hara.
The body count of gay men continues to rise in Providence.
4 dead bodies? You think people ain't gonna talk?
Whether you like it or not, it looks like we got a serial killer on our hands.
People at your bar are dead, and that could have been me.
We could be next. Any more questions, Detective?
Watch the teeth.
Do me a favor. Nail that death drop.
I've never done a split for an empty room.
I always finish my number.
Boo, it's the vampire.
That is another one that made me laugh. Oh, it's the vampire. I love that. I thought that was great.
I've seen this a million times, and I still have a stupid shitty grin on my face every time I watch it.
Well, you should be proud of it. I thought it was. It's better than anything I would have done for a first-time film, for sure.
Now, since you had 10 different hats in this movie, did you have a part in the gore aspects, or did you have someone do that, or how did that work out?
Yeah, we had so the big gore scenes, we had two special effects artists. One was Victoria Elizabeth Black, who was a finalist on Dragula, which is a drag competition show on Shudder now. So she did 3 big kill scenes, and then a special effects artist who's in Massachusetts, who goes by Scott C. Miller, did the other portion. The smaller stuff Brandon tackled, or Wayne tackled, actually. So Brandon has some knowledge of some pretty gross Halloween costuming, and so the smaller stuff we did on our own, but those big moments like the glory hole and the throat, yeah, that was those two are both Victoria Elizabeth Black, and so
nice. I thought the throat looked great. I thought that was.
Oh yeah, they were so professional and so young. They're in their early 20s and came and lived with us for a week, and we filmed 3 really bloody scenes in that same week. So it was really fun. It was a really fun time.
Nice. And then you get out.
Well, so I have a question. Is getting Linnea Quigley? I mean, it's kind of funny that I watched this today because I also watched Savage Streets, which she has no lines in whatsoever. I mean, she plays a deaf mute, so I'm like, oh wow, she's I don't know, probably 20 in that movie, and now she's in this movie, and it's years later. But what was it like? I mean, did you just reach out to her publicist or whatever and say, we want you, or?
Oh, Brandon, you're muted.
You're muted, Brandon. There you go.
My friend Devin, he's in a band called Sexcrement from Boston, and he's really close with Linnea Quigley. He scored a bunch of our film too, but she was in one of their music videos, and she was up in Salem Horror Fest, and Devin had contacted us. She's like, "Hey, do you guys want to come up and meet with Linnea Quigley?" We're like, "Absolutely." So we went up there 2 years in a row to go see her, and just became friends with her. The second year, we had a kind of like a side role, like the Uber role that we needed somebody for, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." And then we went in the parking lot of the hotel and filmed it.
Nice. Well, that works.
Awesome.
That works. Totally.
And don't understate, Brandon and her totally connected, where he helped run an online fundraiser to support her kind of animal refugees, to support all of those animals. So it was kind of fun. That was another nice way to participate and give back.
Totally, yeah. She's been about that for a long time. I think we've had her on before, and
we had her on.
Yeah, and she was talking about that back then.
It was right before she was getting ready to lose her house.
Yeah. Which I don't. Did she lose it? Do you know?
I never heard the outcome.
No, at least she did.
That's good. Well, good, because she's great, and I don't want to see her out on the streets. I mean, not to mention all of her fans would help her out, but yeah. So that's cool. And so, if you guys are you guys gonna continue to work on new projects? Do you have some other things in the works, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, we're currently in the middle of production of our next feature called Saint Drogo. We just finished an Indiegogo crowdsource campaign, which is still live, which is so if folks want to throw some money at it, lovely. But we were hoping to finish this winter, it's a lot different than Death Drop Gorgeous. And if there's like a teaser trailer on Vimeo, and I think people will be impressed with sort of like the growth we've had, not just like on a technical level, but also with like our storytelling and stuff.
Yeah, and the link for that is also in the show notes for the Indiegogo. And so you're not complete. You're not done filming that. Is there any anyone that you want to work with that you're trying to get before you're done? Like, is there any horror icons out there or anything?
I don't know if Tom Savini is busy, but actually, Tom Savini or Damien Leone, his special effects were great in Terrifier, and I'm excited.
Oh my God, yes.
So if either one of them are listening, let us know.
Yeah, we've had Damien on, and we actually we just had one of the producers of Terrifier 2. He's directing a movie called Stream. He was on last week. Yeah.
And we had David Howard Thornton on.
What did you say?
We had David Howard Thornton on.
Oh yeah, we've had him on too. I think was it once or twice?
Twice.
He's a good dude. They're all good. I love like the new crop of independent filmmakers. There's so much like good stuff coming out. Like, don't get me wrong, I like garbage too. I like some really bad, like just poorly made movies because a lot of times it's on purpose. But there's some solid stuff. Like stuff like Terrifier. I'm like psyched that it's getting as big as it is. You know.
Well, that was Netflix, I think, at that point in time. Once it hit Netflix, it got that like, I mean, the original like run of it. Everybody like in the horror community was talking about it. Then they put it on Netflix, and it's like the people that aren't in the scene. Then it became big, and it's like, okay, these are the casual horror fans that blew it up. So,
do you guys think with your distribution or anything, do you think that you're going to go towards a streaming service at some point, like a Netflix or whatever's out there?
Shudder.
Yeah, we. I don't know if we can officially announce. I don't know what the terms are, but yeah, we'll be on a streaming service. Hopefully, sometime in the winter.
Oh, nice, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is it is a different. Like as far as the movie goes, there's not a lot like this as far as horror movies go. So I think that I mean, I could totally see it on something like Shudder. I could see it, on even on Netflix or whatever. Like just because it is so different. And that's I think that's great. I don't understand why people haven't done it before, but at least you've done it. So there you go. It's you now. But,
go ahead, Brandon.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say years ago, back in the late '90s, early 2000s, a friend and I, we were sitting there talking about horror films, and he said to me, he goes, "You're the big horror fan." He goes, "What's the one thing that's never been done?" And I said, "Oh, well, no." I go, "What would really be interesting is if you took a porn and you made a horror film." And so we came up with the new subgenre, horror films.
Well, you're just obsessed with porn. That's all it is.
Oh, there's that. But
yeah.
Where can I watch these movies?
We haven't made any. But
they're all.
But, I mean,
isn't
it an interesting idea?
He's starring in them. So.
No one wants to see this, dude.
Sergio's asking you if any of you guys have seen the new Halloween.
We did.
And
I have not.
I liked John Carpenter's music.
Oh, cool.
I will leave it at that.
Yeah.
I think we got the message.
Yeah. Well, you have to understand, he's on a horror show talking about a horror movie. He doesn't want to piss anyone off.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, I'm going to do it for you. I am not a fan of the Halloween franchise, but anyone who's listening knows that because I've said it multiple times. I'm not a fan. Whatever.
You said it. I'm like when you say franchise, like,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, my favorite horror movie is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and after 2, everything they've done since then has been absolute shit. So, whatever.
My favorite Halloween movie is Halloween 3.
Same here.
I stopped after Halloween 3. I haven't done the rest.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Well, unless you want to see Busta Rhymes in a Halloween movie, because if you watch, he's going to show up.
I just have like low investment in the franchise, so I don't want to. I just think that like talking shit about something on the internet is just like only going to like stir up animosity for some people that feel really passionately about it. So I watched it at our house, and I was fine, I guess. I don't know, I just don't really. It didn't really have an effect on me. I felt like I was checking my phone a lot, which is something I try not.
Well, it's. I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but it's definitely because it's the second in the new trilogy. They're not going to do too much. They're going to do enough to be like, okay, there's a third one coming out, but they're not going to like throw everything at you at once. I've heard mixed reactions, so I'm guessing the people who enjoy the series liked it, and then the people that are like objective to it, it's like, eh. So you knew that in the middle they were just going to be like, okay, let me, like I said, do enough where it keeps your interest, but then not enough to be like, okay, now you got to watch a third one. So
I heard that it's very gory and brutal, which is fine, but I also like a story.
Yeah, I guess my thing for it was like, if they wanted to be a gory, mindless slasher, then give me that. And instead, there's like meaning and like metaphor and purpose, and it was just like it didn't know what it wanted to be. And I just wanted to see like a slasher. Like I wanted to see gruesome kills, which it had some of those, but then there's like, I don't know, there's like messages, and I'm like, this isn't Halloween's not about messages.
And I'm fine with like messages in horror movies, but they have to connect to the plot in some way or the characters in some way. And I just felt like there was some statements made, and then they don't really connect to anyone else. So it was just kind of like, and it was kind of distracting. Like what Mike was saying too, if you're gonna make a mindless, gory slasher, like I'm so all for that. Like, just do it. But yeah, I feel like total identity crisis with this one. But yeah, I mean, Hollywood is just preying on these franchises, even like in other genres too. It's like this nostalgia thing. It's like they're remaking every like old romantic comedies, old sci-fi, all this shit. And it's just predatory, and people keep falling for it. And it's just you're getting like a low carb version of what was served to you years ago that was actually good. So I don't know why people are still biting the bait and defending it so harshly.
And I don't think, I know what I'm about to say is going to sound slightly pretentious, and I don't mean it that way. It's just, I like older movies. Like, I have no interest in remakes. I am, really comfortable with things that came out in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Like, I actually prefer those movies most of the time. So I don't really have a critique on the new release. I just don't find myself, banging down the doors to watch a lot of new stuff. There's so many good things out there that are been peer reviewed and have withstood the test of time.
But no, in fairness, there have been some remakes that have surpassed their originals.
Wow. Huh? It doesn't happen often. Yeah.
No, the Blob, the Fly.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Maniac. We talked about that with Elijah Wood and stuff.
But now those movies are 40 years old.
Not Maniac, no.
but
Maniac's not. And the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. The Hills Have Eyes, the original, I saw in the theater in '77. I loved it, but I loved the remake.
I was too.
Yeah.
You point that out. I was too.
I thought the remake added that one thing that the original didn't have, and that was the fact that they were outside of this area where they were testing the atomic bomb in the 50s. And I thought, that was the coolest idea. It's just this one little thing that made it just that much better for me.
But I think we mentioned it before. A lot of the times, the older movies nowadays, too many movies rely too much on visual aspects to it, whether it's the gore or whatever. Like back then, you either had the greatest of acting just because that's all you had, or a good plot driving it. So I think that's why, especially nowadays, there's so many. It's it doesn't seem like anybody knows how to make something new. So it's either
they know how to make something new. It's just the fact that the problem with Hollywood, and I've said it before many, many times, is the fact that it's run by corporations. And corporations are like, hey, you know what? We have this instant built-in fan base with the movies like Footloose and Rocky Horror and whatnot. And they're like, if we just remake it, we can get that fan base and their kids to go see the movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's not.
Yeah, but they have to make it good because how many times have the fan base that they're supposedly going for watch it and be like, "This is nothing like the original," so you lose that.
They might get their kids. That's
but as long as they watch it once, if they pay to watch it once,
exactly.
that's all they care about.
Yeah,
exactly.
I hope the fan base of Footloose is watching this.
Yeah, for real. We have
I
a
want to
pretty
hear
big,
from these people.
yeah, we have a pretty big group of people
But
that
that's
just want to make dancing illegal in their towns. It's the other side of the Footloose. It's not the good side; it's the bad side that watches the show.
But that's the thing. It's the fact that the corporate, there are no Jack Warners anymore. And you look at the guys, the three Warner brothers that put out like the movies back in the 30s and the 40s. Jack Warner actually was a filmmaker. You know, he didn't just have his name on the side of a building. You know, now who owns Warner Brothers? You know,
Pepsi.
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone does.
Probably
but
Disney.
it's all run by corporate. Yeah. It's all run by corporate stooges.
I just want to point out that we've completely gone off the rails.
I'm sorry.
That's usually how this podcast, like, it's literally like every episode that we have that it goes from one thing to the next.
Yeah,
so
that's about right. So yeah, again, because we're actually, we only have like 10 minutes or so left. So we want to make sure that we're pushing the movie.
I will sit here and be quiet. You guys talk about the movie.
No, you don't have to be quiet, Wolfie. But Death Drop Gorgeous. Oh no. I guess the drive-ins, they attacked him. I don't know.
No, you tried to get us back on rails, and he was not interested.
Maybe watch some more of those shorts, but
yeah, he's back.
He is.
There he is.
Will you?
I got you sideways. Oh, there you go. All right.
Now you were saying how this next film that you're doing, kind of stepped it up, and Kevin mentioned it a lot of times how we like to see like progression and like just from the start to your next a lot of the times it always happens like that. The first one, you're learning, especially you guys that just took that dive into something new. Like what did you learn for the second one that you're like, okay, now we've got our bumps and bruises, like what did you learn for the second one, should I say?
I think one thing we learned is with our story writing. So the original screenplay for Death Drop was 140 pages, and we had no idea how long the screenplay was supposed to be. So our Chris's sister Vicky and her husband Phil Gillette, who's an actual filmmaker, he's done all kinds of fun stuff like Sex, Death, and Robots on Netflix, and Spine of Night, which is coming out very shortly too. They told us, an average horror script is 90 pages, so we had to go hack out like 50 pages, and so this new one, we left a lot of leeway. So it's a smaller script. We left time to let things breathe. The plot is much more minimal, and it just gives us more opportunity. If we make a mistake or need to add something, we do have room to add something if we have to, or to change something if we have to. Like David Cronenberg only writes 60-page scripts, and his movies are pretty long and they're pretty gorgeous too. So it's just it gives you more more leeway.
Nice. So Angel's asking how far you guys are along on Saint Drogo.
We're probably like 60% done with production, I'd say. We have two big scenes that we need to execute flawlessly. That will be this winter and into spring. But yeah, we're almost there. I think going off what Brandon said, we've just become more efficient at what we do and more, I don't know. We're just stronger. We're just better.
But at the same time too, I think Saint Drogo is a great example of pulling in the reins and being really, really specific. But at the same time, we have another screenplay, Queen of the Rats, which has as much as our original chaotic spirit that I think Death Drop Gorgeous has as well. We just know that that's going to take a bigger budget and a lot more time. And so when we definitely want to start that project again, we know that we need to collect a lot more resources to make it possible. I think that's kind of our discernment that we've developed post Death Drop, because Death Drop was literally let's take this as far as we can go.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to help you because even with short films, you kind of again, we've had so many people on that said, they have like 10 short films under their belt, and then they finally make a feature. So they gain a little, fan base or whatever beforehand. So you're saying, it's a lower budget for Death Drop. People are going to see this, and then they're going to be like, okay, you get attached to, directors or whatever. Okay, let me see what the next one's going to do. So that's the close-knit part of the horror community is, sometimes it's a crazy fan base, but for the most part, it's a loyal fan base. So at that point in time, they're going to see this, they're going to like it. Okay, let me see what they can make with a little bit more of a budget. And then, eventually, 5-6 movies down the line, you got a budget that you can, fool around with and be like, okay, now we can do what we always wanted kind of thing. So,
imagine what that meat grinder scene would have looked like if we had this budget. Man,
Put
Shevitz.
that movie in 3D.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the remake of Death Drop Gorgeous coming out in 2043.
Nice.
Oh, you don't have to wait that long. You got to give it at least 5 years. Do what Eli Roth did,
Oh, with what was
Cabin
it?
Fever.
Yeah, Cabin. I'm like, it was 10 years, not even.
Yeah,
was it?
Yeah.
And I loved the original one.
I'm with you.
Pancakes.
Pancakes.
That scene, I still have no idea what the hell that means.
No one does.
I'm like,
So
what the
when it
hell am I
comes to
watching?
Saint Drogo, just because you didn't really give us an idea what it was about, and I don't want to ask too much, but just from the title, I myself, visualize a vampire film.
Ooh. It's more of a it reminds me a lot of 1970s movies in the way it sort of plays out, but it's sort of a nice atmospheric slow burn, and there's a really good climax and shit goes crazy, but it's not a vampire, but it's something just as equally horrific, I promise.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying that's what I conjured up with.
I do have to say, you mentioned the other one, the what is it? Something about Queen of the Rats.
Queen of the Rats.
Yeah, it's so those 3 titles alone are like they sell me. Like Count Drago's an awesome title.
Yeah.
Queen of the Rats is an awesome title. So.
Yeah, I'm really big on titles because I actually had this I just hate so much horror movies are just like demonic or like evil, and then it's just like that just tells me nothing. Like it's just like it's like another synonym for evil over and over and over again. That I don't know. You need the art of like having a good title is like lost, I think.
Yeah, I agree
with that.
There's been some that are like there's one that just finished filming in Connecticut that had a very, very cool title, but they had to change it for some reason, and it's kind of I really like. I mean, whatever else, I'll just say it, but it was The Events Surrounding a Peeping Tom was the original title.
Yeah, that perks my interest.
Totally, they had to change it to Dark Circles.
Yeah, that tells me nothing. I think alien crop circles. I'm just like, no, I don't want to see it.
I mean, I'm still going to see the movie because
sure.
it is awesome. So
it could be the dark circles under his eyes from peeping too much.
Yeah, but you would have never understood.
Okay,
or
the dark circles from binoculars.
Yeah, like someone gave him some prank binoculars. And he has dark circles.
Yeah.
Or already got some dark circles from peeping, from.
Or maybe he just doesn't get enough sleep.
A big black eye.
He's very tired. That's what I also don't like about like The Witch and The Lighthouse and the something titles are just like also just not good. I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah,
it depends on the time. I mean, you're talking
about slow burns. I mean, House of the Devil.
House of the Devil is a great title. And
it's a great movie too.
It's a great movie. It's definitely one of my favorites. And I think that what's so like intelligent about that title is because it's a slow burn and she's in the fucking house, you're like waiting for shit to go down the entire time. And that's all in the title. So yeah, I don't know. The art of a title, art of a good title. It's lost.
Yeah, all of those have the wildest titles. All the Italian ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Wolfie's forte.
Yeah.
Not to throw him under the bus, but I I hosted a horror trivia at Scaricon one year, and Wolfie wrote all the questions, and they were too hard for everyone in the room.
They weren't that.
It's like, well, they're horror fans. I'm like, yeah, but they're not all like an encyclopedia of horror. They're like, hey, I like Freddy Krueger. Like that's what they're like. You know?
So can you guys name? I'm just out of curiosity. Can you guys name at least 3 people that played Jason Voorhees without repeating a name?
Oh, yeah, I'm so bad with actors' names. Just like obviously the Kane Hodder, the dude that played the last one. I can't remember his name. He was in the last Hatchet movie too, and I can't remember the dude's name. Actors'
I guess
names.
it's harder than you think.
Actors' names are like.
Was Derek Mears one?
Yeah, that's the guy he's trying to think of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the only 2 people that played him. Whatever.
Ari Lehman.
Ari Lehman.
Oh yeah, there you go. He played the baby Jason in the water.
Richard Brooks, Ted White, CJ Graham.
Stop bragging, okay? No.
I was thinking maybe there was like a way to get like trick question points, like where you're like, well, his mother, Pamela, and then like, or the little boy, like they.
Well, that was the Ari one.
Voorhees, right?
Yeah.
That would have been yeah. Well, I came up with these questions, and for me, I mean, I was like, these are. I asked Kevin. I mean, they're like, you got to come up with these questions. CJ Graham, thank you, Wayne. Part 6. But yeah, Kevin goes. So I come up with these questions, and he goes, well, you know, I'm not sure about these questions, and it's like, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we figured it out, but it's tough. Like, and that kind of goes into like, the movies that you're making too. So it's like you don't want it to be too crazy where people aren't going to get it, or like the average horror, like the Freddy Krueger fans aren't gonna want to watch it.
Well, you know? Wolfie, I have a question for you. Can you name 3 drag queen names in the movie Death Drop Gorgeous?
3. Well, we got Bright Light. We got Janet. We've got
what's Janet's last name?
Ooh, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm just fucking with you.
No. So the thing is, they're plays on things. So
yeah.
So Janet Fitness, like Planet Fitness, and you have Gloria Hole.
Gloria, that's the one I was trying to think of.
I thought that was great. Yeah. That was great. But anyways, on that note, sorry that we again went completely off the rails. It's second time in one episode.
Yeah, these are all fun.
No, we like it.
Okay, good. So we're gonna wrap stuff up. So I just want to go through if you guys have a social media where you want people to follow you. If you have like fan stuff going on. So Brandon, where can people follow you?
All the usual suspects. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I also want to give a shout out to Salem Horror Fest. Their virtual pass starts this weekend too. So support indie horror. There's a lot of great stuff this year. I believe it starts the 22nd or the 23rd and it goes for 7 days. But Salem Horror Fest on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, just with us. We also have a production company called Monster Makeup. Monster Makeup can be found on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and same with Saint Drogo and Death Drop Gorgeous.
Nice. Michael?
Yeah, we're all over that. If you just Google the movie's name, will probably come up. And then it feels so weird like promoting your own personal social media. But if people wanted to follow me, it's Mikey_Joey on most things.
Nice.
And I'm going to reserve my public humiliation moment for you. So by following Mikey Joey, you will be succumb to.
I wish I could mute you.
Expertly crafted gym selfies, and then a lot of Phoebe Bridgers quotes.
A lot of Phoebe Bridgers quotes. But the first thing you said, I've curbed that behavior. I'm reformed.
No, the first one I said was Gothic houses.
Oh, the second one, I'm reformed.
There's nothing wrong with Gothic houses. They're beautiful.
I love Gothic houses.
Yeah.
I would suggest you follow Death Drop Gorgeous, Monster Makeup, and Saint Drogo. If you wanted my personal one, it's just my last name, Dalpe. But again, it's going to be mostly dog. and cat.
That's I'm all about that as well. Yeah, Wolfie, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, The 13th Wolfman, Twitter at The 13th Wolfman, Tumblr, 13th Wolfman, The Prowl, doing the Wicked Horror reviews with Kev, doing the Wicked Horror show twice a month. Check out my YouTube because I'm throwing something up all the time. And right now I'm doing the 31 Days of Horror along with Tony Has 9 Fingers. And it's 31 movies, 31 days. Tony, what about you?
All right, cool. Tony?
You can find me at Tony Has 9 Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews, unboxings, and stuff. Pretty much I'm doing the 31 days as well. I call it the 31 Days Hath October, where I do more indie films. So check out a future review. I'll give a little hint. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I do show off the collection behind me. Here on, I was going to say TikTok, but I got banned for some reason. So
did you really?
I did a live and I was showing off my movies, and then I got kicked off, and then the next day
all that twerking, banned. Man, all that twerking you're doing on there.
They finally caught me.
Yeah,
but
no one wants. You're showing you didn't bring up the fact that you weren't wearing any clothes, Tony.
Yeah, that was it. I didn't turn it around. But so check me out. Here on the every other. Well, not every other. I was talking to Wolfie. Wow. Most Tuesdays
going well.
on Hear the Wicked Horror Show, and check out our Wicked Horror Show Instagram, which I try to build up, even though I'm horrible at it.
What's the letter for tomorrow, Tony?
Letter for tomorrow will be P, but
okay. So he will be doing an independent horror film starting with the letter P.
There you go.
Ooh. So Kevin.
Yes, just A-Knuckle on Instagram, doing Wicked Horror Show here, also doing the reviews with Wolfie. I'm also part of Black and White Fright and Secret Underground Hideout, all of which are on the Dorkening Podcast Network. Go to the Dorkening. Yeah, thedorkening.com for more information on everything there. Also go to TV Show Johnson on YouTube and watch some weirdness. I do some voiceover stuff on that. TV Show Johnson. It's like Tim and Eric, but even weirder.
Actually, speaking of voices, the one drag queen with that deep voice, sounded like an older woman, reminded me of Kevin.
All the announcing and stuff.
Yeah, reminded me of your voice. I'm like, oh, that's Kevin.
That's it was me. Surprise, I was in it. Anyways, yeah, thanks for coming on, guys, and go check out Death Drop Gorgeous. I had to look again. Death Drop Gorgeous. I'm always doing it. Anyways,
everyone does.
Yeah. Thanks
That's
again.
Because it's supposed to be Drop Dead Gorgeous, man.
You need to calm down. All right, goodbye.
We love that movie too.